Howdy, howdy, howdy. How are y'all doing? Couple of minutes late. Sorry about that. Busy day at work. We'll talk about that today. But anyway, hope y'all are doing fantastic. Welcome to Cliff Notes Live episode. I will call it 204. I think that's right. Welcome to Cliff Notes Live. Welcome to another Monday. Welcome to, can we call it Thanksgiving Monday? I think so. Thanksgiving's coming up. I want to hear what y'all's plans are. We'll talk about that a little bit as well. But let me start off with big old SKD 143. Love my wife, love my kids, love reality TV, love all you guys that are coming out here with me every Monday. I really love Thanksgiving. Yeah, I got some sweet potatoes and macaroni and cheese, all kinds of stuff waiting for me. So, yeah, it's always a fun week. But of course, the real message is Thanksgiving. Thankful for everything that we've got, and there is a lot to be thankful for. We live in a fantastic country, not a perfect country, but a fantastic country. So be thankful for all of that. All right, guys, let me see who's out here real quick. Well, before I do that, excuse me, picked up a little bit of a cough today. Before I do that, if you haven't already done so, please consider subscribing to my YouTube channel. Consider turning on notifications and maybe putting a little thumbs up out there while you're at it. I'm trying to think of a few things I may do with this YouTube channel while we're outside the Big Brother season. We don't have Big Brother Canada either. It drives me bonkers. Now, I have heard there could be a celebrity Big Brother. Y'all tell me. I've heard rumors. I just don't know if it's official yet. So I'm going to lean on you guys to tell me a little bit how true that may or may not be. I hope so. We got to get some reality TV of some sort going on. I'm spending too much time over watching the Australia reality TV shows right now. So we've got that. So howdy, all of y'all. Let me start off real quick and just see who I've got out here real fast, and then kind of open mic, I guess. Sorry, open topic. We'll talk about whatever y'all want to this evening. All right, let's see who we got out there. Maryland, Sutherland, Maryland. How are you doing? Howdy, howdy, howdy. Patricia Miller as well. Jake the Horror Movie Geek, Lee Strack, Karen Hummer, David Manna, Michelle Moore, Brian Hutzer. Brian, how are you, sir? Carol Mosher, YG. Howdy, howdy, howdy. Tim Cox. Let's see who else we've got on here. Mike Johnson, Dudley Lucky, War Eagle. Yeah, the sore spot, Dudley. You know that's right. You know what a Saturday. That's a close game. All right, Chaz as well. Marshall Davis. See CJ Latham, Lori Kelly, Tracy Muckenfuss, and I think that's about it for this evening. Welcome to all of y'all. And I know some of y'all are watching this on replay as well. Welcome to y'all. That's why I put on replay. So Monday, this is a crazy week. Answer me this question as well. How many of you are still working? How many of you are still going to school? Are you just done for the week? Are you just taking it easy? I think I've told y'all before. I do sales. I do technical support for oil and gas, electrical, automation industry, all of that. Yeah, Chaz is saying, do you have the whole week off? Well, Chaz, I wish so. But because I do a lot of sales and technical support, things do slow down over Thanksgiving week. I was expecting that, hoping for that. And it didn't happen today. I spent all day long in an assembly line plant helping them install a bunch of locks and wiring up electrical panels, standing up all day long. Hot, so hot in that place, no breeze blowing, just loud. It's just a long day trying to wire up a whole bunch of stuff in these panels and all that. So but no, I do not have the whole week off. Come Wednesday, it'll pretty much shut down. But tomorrow I've got one more day of work, and then I'm through. And then we'll move on to the turkey and football and everything else that's all about Thanksgiving. So how about you? Are you off? Are you done? Are you already planning it all up and everything else? I know some people are. I can tell you this, driving to work today was certainly a lot easier. A lot of people shut down. So that's always nice. But yeah, long day at work. Y'all don't want to hear my issues, but a long day at work. All right, let's see. What we've got? A few questions here and there, and then we'll get into other stuff. Karen Hummer, does anyone think it's funny that so many people on the summit keep saying they're afraid of heights? Isn't that something? Of course, when they were casting these people, they're like, yeah, you may be good for a little show that we're casting. Do you have any phobias? Oh, yeah, I don't like heights. Oh, no. Come to the front of the line. We're ready. We got the show picked out for you. and so, yeah, I'm sure there was a lot of that. Plus, I also have a feeling that a lot of the people on that show maybe hyping up a little bit. We'll say hyping up a little bit some of their fears and overplaying it a little bit for a little TV drama and all that. I could be wrong. I mean, it's valid. It's not. They're having to rappel and do zip lines over very high distances. I actually think I'm scared of heights, but my heights, if I'm secured to a rope, I'd love to go parachuting. Probably not twice, but once, just to say I did it. I'm scared of heights, but as long as I'm secured, so I know I'm not going to fall off the side of a building, it doesn't bother me at all. But if I'm not secured, I can't get within about 5 feet of the edge of a building because it just gives me the heebie-jeebies. So I don't like heights in that form. But here's what I'm going to suggest. We're almost through the summit. Just like last week, they had to crawl through some ice caves. I thought it was going to be more than it was. It turned out kind of, next season, instead of the summit, I'd like for them to do the same thing, but keep it down low in the valley, have a bunch of rivers, have them have to go into underground caves, things like that. There's some caves that you go in where the water's all the way up to maybe except for the top 6 inches or so. And you just have to kind of hold your head like that as you go through the cave. Hey, talking about, scared of heights this season, agoraphobic, claustrophobic would get people in some of those things next season. I'd love to see one where they're going down rivers and going through caves and cutting through jungles and that kind of stuff. I guess I've kind of liked Naked and Afraid. That's my show. I've kind of liked the summit so far. Yeah, Naked and Afraid. I can handle not eating, getting eaten alive by the bugs. That would be my tough one. That would be miserable, wouldn't that be? I was watching Survivor last week with the tribal council, pouring down rain. You see Genevieve, and I can't remember who else wears glasses. And their glasses, you can't even see out of them. There's so much rain coming down, and they're just miserable looking. And all I could think was, I remember one time on Big Brother when they made us stay outside while they did the veto ceremony, and it was kind of hot outside. Yeah, we had it easy in terms of the elements. Now, we were locked away a lot longer than they were. We had our own kind of drama and trauma and stress, but it involved psychological more than the physical elements. But yeah, they gave up their shot in the dark. I guess we can talk Survivor since I kind of led into it. All of them gave up their shot in the darks just to get a bag of rice. I was a little surprised. Jeff Probst was a little surprised, I think, as well. It kind of caught me off guard that they were willing to do it as quickly as they were. All but Sam, and he didn't have much of a choice. How can you say no? Because even though you think it's going to protect you, if you say no, it makes you the enemy of the tribe, right? So yeah, I guess I should have said before I talk, no spoilers or be careful of spoilers, because I did have even already talking a little spoiler. So be warned on that. All right, let's see. Chaz is saying, any thoughts on last week's Survivor? Yeah, what a segue. Did you expect Gabe? Spoiler alert. If you haven't already seen it, shut it down for a little while. I should have emphasized that more. Were you surprised to see Gabe go home last week? I actually was a little surprised. I've told y'all for the last few weeks, I felt like he was playing a little too hard in the beginning, but I really thought that he had done a better job of integrating himself with the rest of the tribe after the merge and seemed to be doing pretty well. It just didn't work out. Poor Genevieve. She's watching when they're reading our names. You just see the cringe, just every time cringing when she hears her name called out and thinking, that's it. I'm going home. I remember that feeling. Not so much for the votes, because they're secret votes in Big Brother, so you don't hear them called at one at a time. And I always, even when I was blindsided, I still kind of suspected. But the nomination ceremony, I remember a few times in there saying, "Oh God, don't say my name! Don't say my name!" Even when I knew they were going to say my name, I still don't. I don't want to see my picture up on the wall, and it would show up. Just the most horrible feeling. But Genevieve, she wore her emotions on her face. Is that aside? You very well could see what she was thinking. She got lucky though. I was a little surprised to see Gabe gone. I'm kind of curious to see how that affects Sue going forward, because the two of them were kind of tight. But we lost Gabe and we lost Saul the last 2 weeks. That's kind of rough. And now we'll see. We saw the little teaser. It looks like Andy and some of the underdogs could be coming together. that is what I like about Big Survivor. Maybe a little bit more than Big Brother sometimes, is I feel like sometimes these alliances are a little more fluid in Survivor, because you've got your little tribes and the alliances form within those groups. Once the merge happens, you have people that are kind of watching out for their past tribal connections. But after a while, they start working with other groups. And so you just see a little more fluidity because of the change from 3 individual tribes to the big tribe. And so you get more, you force people to be more adaptable through the whole season. Whereas with Big Brother, I think sometimes you can have an alliance that starts at the very beginning that can go quite a ways through the game and make it to the end sometimes. The brigade, something like that. So I don't think Big Brother sometimes forces people to be as flexible as Survivor does sometimes, which one of the reasons I love Big Brother, but one of the reasons I especially love Survivor, some of the strategy play that takes place. I wish they did Survivor a little bit like Big Brother, though. Let us see more. We get 1 episode a week. Now, it is an hour and a half per week now, but give us a few episodes per week. 1 week that's all tribal and the immunity ceremony and our competition on. The other one's all strategy and reward challenge. It would be fun if they broke it up, if we got a little bit more time involved on some of this. But what do I know? I'm not CBS programming, but yeah, I'd love to see a little bit more time with it. All right, YG Sam, what are your Turkey Day plans? Well, talking about being adaptable and a little bit of a flexibility with it. This is a little different Thanksgiving for us because I lost my mom. And so we'd always go to her house on a Friday or Saturday and celebrate as the extended family. Because we lost her, we're going to, we'll be going up to Dallas-Fort Worth, which is where she was at. Most of my brothers, family and all, a lot of them up there. We'll be going up there probably Wednesday. So I think Sharon and I will celebrate on Thursday. We'll have kind of a quiet a quiet dinner with lots of. We'll make it work. But Friday we're gonna have all the family come over to her house and make sure that we still celebrate together as a family. And we're gonna go through photos and do some things like that. So it'll be good. And of course, then Saturday, we got a little football game going on. Nothing too important, other than the most important football game of the last 100 years or so. A&M versus Texas Longhorns. The winner goes to the championship game of the SEC. We hate each other. Rivalry games. Oh, it's going to be. I hope it's going to be fun. It could be excruciatingly horrible if it goes the wrong way. But yeah, big football game on Saturday night. A lot of my family are Aggies. I got a few Longhorns in there as well. I got a daughter who's a Longhorn, a son who's an Aggie. So yeah, house divided over here. It's gonna be a lot of fun watching that. So that's kind of our Thanksgiving plans, and we'll throw a little football in there with the Cowboys and all as well. But yeah, we'll still be eating the turkey and the macaroni and cheese and the rolls and all that good stuff coming up. We'll do it a few times over the next few days. All right, Dudley Lucky is saying, loving the House of Villains. It's one of the reality shows I need to get caught up on. It looked good. I checked out the cast and it looked like it could be a lot of fun. I just haven't had a chance to do it yet. That, and now they've announced the next season of Traitors. They've got Boston Rob on there. Who else do they have on there? Danielle Reyes. I think she's going to do fantastic. I can't even remember who else is on there right now. I remember when I read the list, it's like, oh my gosh, there'll be a lot of fun people on Traitors. So that's going to be fun as well. Again, we've kind of moved on right now to some of the Australian show. We watched The Block, which is a house flipping kind of show. And each week, these different couples, they each do a different room and get judged and all that. So I need to go back out and check out some of the Survivors and Big Brothers from Australia and New Zealand, some of those as well. If they had a Big Brother channel, I mean, I know Pluto has one that shows US Big Brother. If they just had a Big Brother channel that showed Big Brother from all over the world, God, I'd never leave the house. I'd have to retire right now because I'd never leave the house because I just would be watching Big Brother Philippines, Big Brother Denmark. There's so many different countries versions out there. Now that would be a fun one to watch as a group and talk about how do you think old Sven did? Yeah, he was pretty rough out there having to chase down those reindeers. I don't know that the Norwegians and such yeah, they love their skin. They probably would be out in the snow chasing down reindeer and stuff. But I think it'd be a lot of fun. I got to figure out how to get a hold of some of those. Oh, let's see what y'all can tell. I'm just kind of open tonight, right? In terms of discussions. Wyatt Garrett said, going to see Clay Walker at Billy Bob's. Oh, I'm kind of jealous there, Wyatt. We've seen Clay Walker quite a few times. He's performed at the Houston Rodeo. Oh, God, he played here quite a few times. One of my, I've got a lot of my favorites with him. One of my favorites, though, is Before Mama Was Mama. I think that's the name of it. It's kind of a fun one. But yeah, I'll have fun. It's been a long time since I've been to Billy Bob's. For those who don't know, Billy Bob's, the largest honky tonk in the world, and big bar there in Fort Worth, in the stockyards in the kind of country western part of the city up on the north side, and just a fun place to go. I'm jealous of you, Wyatt. That sounds like a lot of fun. All right. What else do we have on here? Chad is saying, if you were in Sam's position, would you have given up your shot in the dark? I would not have volunteered it. I think he handled it the right way. He didn't want to, but if he had not done it and they didn't get rice because of it, I think people would have said, oh, there's your excuse. Sam, I wasn't coming after you, but now everyone's throwing your name out and I can't not go with the group. It would have put such a huge target on his back if Sam was the one responsible for not getting rice for the group. So, yeah, I think it was a horrible situation for him, but I think he had to at the end, because otherwise, whether it was truly the reason or not, it would have been an excuse for a whole lot of people to potentially put his name on that parchment at tribal council. And he already was feeling like he maybe was a little bit of an outsider, which is why he didn't want to use it in the first place. So he kind of got pushed into a corner where I don't think that he had a choice. Now, maybe, I don't know what else you could do as far as deals with Probst. If he could have said something like, hey, what if I just let everyone else keep their shot in the dark? I'll not compete. Let's go back to the original, see if we can get 3 people or something. Of course, he probably wouldn't want to do that either. I think it was a poor group of choices that he had, and he did the best with it. And it worked out all right. I mean, at the end, he said during tribal council, if I recall, something about that, for the first time in a while, I feel like I'm kind of part of the community and again and all that. I don't know that he's quite as much part of the community as he thinks he is. I tell you this much: if I'm Sam, I'm keeping Kyle around as long as I can, because I feel like Kyle's a little bit of a shield. I'm amazed they haven't gotten him out already. I think as soon as he's vulnerable, he doesn't win one of these immunity challenges, I think it would be easy to get him out. And if I'm Sam, I'm really going to be pushing how big a target Kyle is. And oh my gosh, look at him. He's just gonna comp beast all the way through to the end if we don't do something. And if I was Sam, I'd make sure that I had that target so squarely pinned on Kyle's back from now until the day he walks off the island. Because once Kyle's gone at that point, then I think Sam takes on that position of being kind of a comp beast threat that he's going to need to be worried about. So yeah, make sure they're thinking about someone else as long as you can before they start pointing that finger. Yeah, I think he did what he had to do. I can't believe that Andy is now maybe the leader of the underdogs. It could be editing, but I'm curious to see what happens next week. We're getting close. We're getting real close to the end of this thing, which is going to be fun. All right, let's see what else we've got in here. Tim Pipe saying, would you ever go on the Traitors? Yeah, Tim, I'd love to go on the Traitors. I've said before, y'all probably get tired of it. I'd go on just almost any reality TV show. Maybe not the dating shows. I think Sharon would have something to say about that. But other than that, 60 days in where they put you in jail for 60 days, she may have something to say about that as well. Those inmates can't be any worse than some of the knuckleheads I had to spend 3 months with in the Big Brother house, though. I'm already a pro at that kind of stuff. Yeah, that'd be tough. But no, I would do most reality shows, but I do think there's some that I would do a lot better than others. The Circle, I'm not sure I can really catfish as a 20-year-old co-ed. The Challenge, I'm not sure I can really run up Pikes Peak a couple of times and come down without having a cardiac arrest, although I'd show them a thing or two. I'd do that whole brawl just to show that I'm not scared of anything. But there's a few shows that I probably wouldn't do quite as well as others. I think I'd do pretty well on Traitors. I think people think they can trust me, and in the real world they can. In game show world, I would use that to my advantage in that house, and be the trustworthy, faithful guy. Who would think that he could ever be up to no good? And I would just pray that I got to be one of the traitors and get them every week and have fun doing it. Yeah, I'd love to do the traitors. Just call me, guys, and I'd be happy to do it. I can think of a whole lot less fun things than to go over to Scotland and hang out in a castle with some other reality TV folks and try to win. I don't even know how much they win. It doesn't really matter. I'd do it just for the sake of getting a chance to play the game. Yeah, I love Traitors. I think it's been a fun season. I want to go back and watch the BBC, the UK version of the Traitors, and I just haven't had a chance to do that yet either. But the versions where you have regular people, I mean, regular people, that just seems kind of weird, but you don't have you don't have people who've already been on reality TV. You have a lot of people that you don't really know who they are. They're coming in kind of fresh. I think that would be fun to watch as well, where you don't have any preconceived notions about anyone who's coming into the game. And then you get to see how people convince different people. That'd be kind of fun as well. Yeah, I'd love to do the Traitors. I'd love to do Squid Games as well. Not real Squid Games. Just the fun version where you win money and you don't actually get carried off in a body bag at the end of every episode. No real Squid Game or Hunger Games for me or anything like that. May the odds always be in your favor. Yeah, no Hunger Games for me. Katniss, I am not. All right, Brian Hostetler. College Game Day will be there. Yeah, they're going to be in College Station along with about 150,000 people. Lori Kelly is saying, have to cheer on my Longhorns. Man, my daughter's going to be doing it as well. So I understand. It's fine. Hunter Green is saying, putting $100 on the Aggie Wednesday in Vegas. See, here's the thing, Hunter. I can't bet on the Aggies because I'm too biased. I think I said it before. If I actually was betting on the game, I'd bet on the Longhorns. I'd bet, how much would I bet? A couple of thousand maybe on the Longhorns, because that way, if worse comes to worse and the Longhorns beat the Aggies, at least in between crying over a lost game and all that, I'd say, well, at least I won $2,000. It could be worse. Whereas if the Aggies won, I'd be jumping for joy and saying, it cost me $2,000, but the Aggies won. It's well worth it. I would have to find that balance of how much money I'd be willing to pay and still be happy to see the Aggies win. I could never bet on the Aggies because then if they lose, it's just double trouble. I feel twice as bad. So, but I'm glad you're betting on them. And yeah, for all the Longhorn fans out there, no worries. I've been on this earth for a number of years. I got University of Texas is a fantastic school, incredible education that you get there. It's like two brothers fighting. So at the end of the day, as much as I want to see my brother win the game, no worries. Especially having a daughter that went there, I have to be chill about it. But for a few hours Saturday, it's going to be fun. Yeah, game day is going to be there. The stadium's probably going to have, I think the fire marshals will cap it out at 110,000 folks. You'll probably have a few more sneaking in here and there. And you'll probably have another 40 or 50 tailgating through the whole game. And because I know a lot of people that are going there that don't have tickets, can't afford tickets. They're just going up just to get the whole feel, just the whole environment of such an important game. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be absolutely crazy. So much fun. For those of you who don't know, Texas and A&M played each other every year. They used to play on Thanksgiving Day. Then after a while, it was Friday and then sometimes Saturday. This is the first time I want to say in like 13 years or so that we've played, because A&M went to the SEC. Texas stayed in the Big 12. Now they're back together. So first time in a long time. Winner advances to the college championship game for the SEC, and it's just a big deal. It was fun while I was in college. the games were on Thursday, which made for an interesting Thanksgiving because, we'd all tell our families that, hey, I love you, and we'll be there on Saturday to celebrate. But Thursday, I'm at the game. And we would all get together and we'd go to like Luby's cafeteria, which was one of the few restaurants open on Thanksgiving Day, just packed with people. And we'd have a little Thanksgiving Day dinner there at Luby's, then go over to the game and just yell till you lost your voices and all that. I remember one year my family actually came down and had a camper, and we stayed in the camper, set up tents, had the extended family all camping out, just probably 10, 15 miles away from the stadium and all that. It had so much fun. We celebrated Thanksgiving out on picnic tables out in the outdoors, and it's just, I'll always remember that particular Thanksgiving. It was just because it was different. It was kind of fun, and being back amongst the nature and all of that, it just felt like a very special Thanksgiving. And because we beat the Longhorns a little bit afterwards as well. So yeah, Brian, man, it's going to be so much fun. Quite a game. Yeah. Y'all are going to see me on Monday, either incredibly happy or very keeping a stiff upper lip. I've said before, I'm not going to let my attitudes and my opinions and my love of life be influenced by a bunch of 18, 19, and 20-year-old guys who go out, run back and forth on a football field. But I will, because how can you not? It's going to be fun. All right, let's see. What else? Carol Mosier saying, if you went on Amazing Race, who would you race with? Such a good question. And then Carol also saying, had to retire with a serious back injury. Well, not nearly as much fun. I'm sorry to hear that, Carol. Back injuries are tough. I know. I know for a long time I've been told, Cliff, you better be exercising and stretching your back, because otherwise you're going to have some issues when you get older as well. I've never been the most flexible person. Gymnastics is not for old boss hog. But yeah, I'm sorry to hear that, but hey, congratulations on your retirement. At least that's not bad. As far as the question of if you went on Amazing Race, who would you race with? I'd love to do it with Sharon, but she's already said ain't a chance in the world that she would ever do it. We would have fun navigating and driving and trying to give direction. Sharon and I are very different in terms of how we drive. I'm the engineer. Mine's head north, head east, go down 2 miles and hang a right. Sharon's very much go down to the whatever, the Home Depot and hang a left or something. Or yeah, go this direction. We're just different. But I'd love to do it with Sharon, but she's already said no. I would love to do it with my son or daughter. They're both so brilliant. We would have so much fun doing it. They would carry me on the athletic tasks that you had to do sometimes. I think I would probably do well at keeping them in check. Hey, don't worry about it. We're fine. We're doing all right. I just see me trying to run and them ahead of me saying, come on, Dad, come on. But it'd be fun to race with them. Who else would I have fun racing with? Nicole, Anthony, and myself talked about doing it. We actually did a video and just never got around to do it. She ended up doing All Stars Big Brother, and we got to, and then she got married. It's just life gets in the way, but it would be fun to do it with Nicole. It would be fun to do it with Kat for my season. I don't know if we'd win, but we would have a lot of fun. You know who I would also really like to do Amazing Race with? I think we would have fun as well. Me and Donnie from Big Brother 16. I feel I've hung out with Donnie a couple of times, not nearly long enough, but he seems like a very down-to-earth guy. We could have a lot of fun, be a lot of laughs if we got to do the Amazing Race. And I think we'd do okay. We'd surprise some people. But yeah, I'd love to do Amazing Race with Donnie. At the end of the day, I put me with anyone. I would. One of the beauties about Amazing Race, which is a little bit different than Big Brother, is you're not competing by yourself. You have to figure out what your strengths are, what your partner's strengths are, and how y'all can complement each other. And whether it was someone that I know very well, like my family, or someone I know just, little bit through reality TV and everything, or just a complete stranger. No matter which situation, I feel like it would be fantastic opportunities to really learn more about yourself and the person you're playing with. So yeah, it'd be fun. Amazing Race, one of my favorites. One of my mom's absolute favorites of all the reality TV shows, just because she enjoyed seeing them travel to so many places. And she would call and I say, "Hey, Cliff, you've been there, hadn't you?" "Yeah, Mom, matter of fact, I have." "Hey, Cliff, you've been there, haven't you?" "Yeah, Mom, matter of fact, I have." Been to a lot of places that they went to. Now, unfortunately, a lot of the places I went to, I never had time to really explore and go out and do some of the stuff they do. Mine was always land at the airport, go talk to people and tell them how to work a product, get right back on the plane to fly back. I never got to stop and smell the roses, so to speak. So yeah, Amazing Race would be a phenomenal opportunity. But every one of us who's on Big Brother, we all talk about coming back to play Big Brother at some point in the future, and we all talk about wanting to go on Amazing Race, and they only have so many slots in that game. I think I could start a job as a tour promoter and just put tours together and just create my own Amazing Races for people. I think a lot of people would do things like that. It's probably a lot of expense involved to set it up, but wouldn't you do it if you could just compete against random people and just do it? Not because you're going to win $1 million, but just to have fun going all over the world doing stuff. I think that'd be an incredible way to take a vacation. All right. Mike Johnson is saying, working, fixing damage caused by the bomb cyclone in the Pacific Northwest. I had never heard the term bomb cyclone used before until I was reading about it. Damn, I feel for you. Between you guys having issues, the whole Hurricane Helene still doing a number on North Carolina and the Appalachians in that area. And then we had our hurricane. Of course, ours was back in the summer, so we've more or less recovered from it. Thankfully, it's just been one of those kind of years, right? Which sometimes makes it a little tougher to be thankful, but be thankful for all the things that you still have. I feel fine. I know y'all had it bad, and the hurricane folks as well. It's just it's nature. This weather stuff can get to you. Those high winds are scary stuff. We watch. I think I mentioned it last week. We watched Twisters, and a little cheesy, but still the power of a tornado when it's coming right to you. Scary, scary stuff. All right. Laura Lewis is saying, Thanksgiving Day will be celebrating 1 year since my open heart surgery. Well, congrats, successful and healing. Congratulations. I'd love to hear that. And then Lori Kelly saying, recovering from major surgery and healing as well. I'm so happy to hear that. I am talking about being thankful. What our physicians and medical teams can do nowadays. I'm reading a book called 1632 by a guy named Eric Flint's, an alternate history. A bunch of coal miners go back in time to 1632, and they're trying to fit in with all of this guy, all these different just barbarian tribes running all over Europe, and they're trying to introduce concepts of democracy and everything back into that. It's just a silly kind of sci-fi book, but yeah, I don't even know where I was going with that. Being some of the medical stuff, and they talk about, they see 40-year-olds who are all they look like they're about 100 years old, because back then, we didn't have the medical stuff. A long life was if you made it into your 50s or so. So yeah, it's a whole different world for us. And I, for one, am very, very grateful for it. I hate to use the word grateful. I can't use the word grateful ever since Big Brother, because that was the Grateful Eight Alliance. And yeah, not my favorite term, but I'm very appreciative of everything I've got in this world. All right, let's see what else do we have out here. Hunter saying, you were a worm on a Roughneck crew. You're pretty tough. Yeah. Well, let's tell a story about that there too. And then what did you think about Landman episode 3? All right. For those I talked about last week, I'll talk about it again. Landman, it's on Paramount Plus. But I think it's also on CMT. Now they may edit it out a little bit on CMT, but they took a few liberties. Billy Bob Thornton does a whole lot more than any one person actually does out in the oilfield. In reality, you've got a whole lot of different people taking on different aspects of the job that he does. But what they did do pretty well was portray the worm who's working on a roughneck crew. And yes, I did that. If you're a worm, you wear a green hard hat so everyone knows that you're brand new and can't be trusted to do anything. And they used to play more pranks on us out there when you first got started. And it was kind of hazing. It was initiation into the oil field. You would wear that hard hat, And if they played these pranks on you and you got mad and you started yelling at them or something, well, then they would just make it worse. And they, if you weren't careful, they'd chase you out of the oil field. You just had to kind of grin and bear it, say, you SOBs, I'm going to get you so bad somewhere down the road. And you just would go along with it. And once you did that, then you started getting accepted. As I was watching them play some of these pranks on this worm, I was trying to think of some of the things they did to me. They, thing called pipe dope. It's just real thick grease, like tar balls. One time they dropped them all into the fingers of the gloves that you wear out there. So I went all day thinking my hands were all covered with my gloves and nice and clean. When it came to lunch, I took my gloves off. My hands were just covered in black. That was one thing. Another thing they did to us is we saw them all lifting. You had to carry these big bags of barite, which is a type of mud that you pour it in with the mud. It makes the mud heavier, so it pushes down so that you don't have the blowouts like you see on TV and all that. Well, these barite muds are 70-pound bags. And so we look over and we see a lot of these rig hands having a contest to see who can hold one of these bags of barite mud over their head for the longest period of time before they get weak and drop it. And so, of course, I went over there and said, hey, I can do it. Y'all are all held it for minutes. I bet I can hold it longer than that. Well, all right, Worm, let's see how long you can hold it. So I'm all trying to show off. I pick up my bag of barite. I'm holding it up over my head. And I say, how long's it been? How long's it been? No, you're getting closer. You're getting closer. Well, what I didn't realize was one of the guys had walked up behind me with a box cutter, with an open blade. And while I'm sitting there holding it up, he walks up behind with a knife and just cuts right down the middle of the bag, right over the top of my head. And so next thing I know, 70 pounds of the most nasty, viscous mud concentrate spills all over my head. I'm sweaty already from working out there all day long, just covered in this stuff. I just everywhere, and in my face and my ears, everything. Of course, they're all laughing. They think that's the most hilarious thing in the world. And it was fine. There's worse things they could do to you. So they did a lot of that. One time, one of my very first days out there, they said, all right, Worm, because you don't go by any name, it's just Worm. All right, Worm, if you see us running, you run. Don't ask questions, just run, because we don't run anywhere unless we have to. Okay, I'll trust you on that one. So sure enough, we're walking along, or we're working along and all that. And all of a sudden I hear these guys say, run, run. And they take off running one way. I run the other direction, full speed. I look like a track star running across this open field. I'm probably about 50, 60 yards before I turn around, and they're all just laying there. They're laughing. Of course, there wasn't anything going on. They just wanted to see how fast I could run. And I think they were impressed. So yeah, they did a lot of things like that. But there also were some trust games that they did as well. I know when I first got out there, it's a workover rig. It's got a big tower. It lifts up. You then have to anchor all the anchor lines. Each corner has a big, thick cable that you have to anchor to a spike that you've driven into the ground so that the winds and everything won't blow this big tower. That's the crane won't blow it over. And so we get out there, and I lean down to hold the hammer while this guy swings the mallet to drive the spike into the ground so we can anchor the wire to it. So I'm holding that thing. He said, "Oh no, Worm, you're swinging the mallet." I said, "What?" And he said, "Yeah, I'll hold the spike. You're swinging the mallet, and you sure as heck better not miss." Are you talking about nervous? You get a 20-pound sledgehammer that you're coming over your shoulder, just like in the carnival games, trying to hit as hard as you can. And all I can think is, oh my God, I'm going to miss this little spike. I'm going to hit this guy in the hands, break his hands, and they won't even drive me back home. I'll have to walk home from the middle of nowhere because no one's going to want anything to do with me. But you couldn't swing easy or you'd never knock this spike into this old hard West Texas ground. So I just had to make sure I was really paying attention to that spike. And I swung a few times, probably not more than 3, 4, 5 times. And then they said, all right, we'll take over. But there was a little bit of a trust issue on that. And the fact that I was doing it, I didn't hit the guy. After that was a lot better. So yeah, it was tough getting in with that crew because these are hardcore guys They work. I've never worked with harder guys in my entire life. You tend to build up a bit of a relationship with those. Well, one more quick story, and then I'll tell y'all more next week or something. There's some amazing pranks that these guys play. They got nothing. They're like guys in prison. They've got nothing to do except sit out in these rigs all day long trying to think of pranks that they can play on different people. So I'll tell y'all more next week. But there was one time where I was supposed to be working a job with another guy. We'd both go out there. I'd work 4 or 5 hours. He'd work 4 or 5 hours. We'd take turns. We'd sleep in a van that we had out there because that's all you had. And we were going to be out there for several days in a row doing this work, running pipe in this hole. Well, last minute, this guy gets called out for jury duty. He can't get away. The judge refuses to let him get away. We couldn't turn down the job. So I went out there by myself, and I worked for somewhere between 36 and 48 hours straight. Not quite 48 hours, but at least a day and a half. And these old rig crews would come out. They'd work 8 hour, 24-hour day deal, but they'd work 8 hours. Then the next group would come for 8 hours, next group for 8 hours. So I worked for 8 hours, another 8 hours, another 8 hours. The first crew comes back. I'm still out there working. And they say, you haven't taken a break? No, I've got to work. I mean, I'm the only one out here. They do it. The next crew works. The next group works. The first crew comes out one more time and sees me out there still working. And by that point in time, everyone's talking about, hey, the guy working, way too long. Nowadays, they wouldn't let you do it. That's incredibly dangerous. But they were bringing me coffee from the convenience stores down the road, and they were offering to try to take my place as much as they could. I learned how to take naps 5 minutes at a time between each little thing of pipe that went into the hole. And they would wake me up as soon as it was my turn to run my equipment every 5 minutes or so. But you developed a lot of bonds with those guys that are there out there because you had no one else to depend on if things didn't get good. So yeah, can you tell I'm a little passionate when I talk about that part of my life? It was hardest work I've ever done. I would never want to do it again. I never could do it again. But it taught me a lot about work that didn't have anything to do with school or education or anything else. And so I watch Landman. It brings up a lot of those kind of thoughts and feelings and everything else. It was, yeah, I like it. And I like Billy Bob Thornton as an actor as well. Little over the top, but not really. I know guys exactly like him that work as a crotchety old men. Guy, if you get them on a bad day, you can't do anything right. They just gripe about everything. They just are sour about life, and yet they're still out there working away. And half of them 80-something years old, smoking a cigarette. They can barely walk, but they still manage to yell and scream when they want to get things done out in the oil field. A lot of stuff going on. All right, let me check out here real quick. Chaz. Hey, Chaz. Thank you. Thank you for the support. Thank you for the super stamp. I think that's what they call it. Thank you so much. Chaz is saying, do you know anything about reindeer games being delayed? Also heard something about celebrity season maybe coming up. I've heard the rumors, Chaz. I don't think it's a rumor that reindeer games is not going to happen. I'm pretty sure that's been shut down. If we were going to have that, we'd be having it starting the next few weeks, I think, right after Thanksgiving. I don't think we're getting reindeer games. I'm just that close to saying I'm positive we're not getting reindeer games. But celebrity Big Brother, I've heard. I know Brian sent me a link. There's some of y'all have reached out and said, "Hey, I'm hearing rumors here and there," and it does seem like that may be a possibility. It wouldn't surprise me for them to do it, especially since we don't have Canada Big Brother. They could do it a little bit later in the season and not worry about overlapping Canada's Big Brother, and they'll still be done in plenty of time for our season, the U.S. Big Brother, and to get the house in order and all of that. So, yeah, I think it seems reasonable. It seems like absolutely feasible to do since we don't have north of the border Big Brother and all that. I hope so. You could do it completely. I mean, we're calling it celebrity, and that fair enough. If they want to do celebrity, that's fine. I'd almost be just as happy to have a mini regular Big Brother, have regular old folks in there, and just change the rules up a little bit. Don't stretch it out as long as you do. Have everything take place over a few nights instead of a week-long deal. Have some triple evictions. Do some things a little bit differently. Try them out before you. And the things that work, maybe you then try them in the regular season Big Brother. I think you can have fun with it. It'd be like Big Brother Over the Top that they did back in, when was that? 2016 or something like that. I don't know. It's a while back. But yeah, I think they may be doing Celebrity Big Brother. Reindeer games, I don't think so. But Chaz, thank you. Thank you for the support. As always, I absolutely appreciate it, sir. I appreciate all you guys out here. It's always a lot of fun. All right. Chaz is saying, would you be a traitor or a faithful? Oh, absolutely traitor. If they let me. Faithful, I mean, faithful would be fine, but faithful's kind of boring. I'd want to be a traitor. That's what I would do. Which do you think you'd have more success with? I think I'd have more success with as a traitor because I think I would surprise people more. I think I could convince people that I was not a traitor. You know, guys, God, it'd be so much fun to do, but I can't lie like that. Y'all know I just that's not who I am as a person. And I think I could rope in not everyone, but a person or two that would help. So no, I think I'd be much more successful as a traitor at the end of the day, just because I think I could surprise people a little bit more with it. But if they wanted to make me a faithful, that'd be all right. Could I read people well enough? I'd like to think so, but I think we'll spend another episode of Cliff Notes maybe talk about it. I think there's ways to play the game of traitors that maybe hasn't been played just yet. I don't want to give away all my strategy just in case I get a call. I think people get way too concerned the first few weeks trying to identify traitors instead of just building up some alliances. Man, I'd be building up an alliance. I'd be telling people, I don't care if there's a traitor in my group or not. If there is, so much the better. It protects all of us that much more. We'll protect you. You protect us, whoever you may be, traitor, you anonymous person. But I wouldn't even care who the traitors were for those first few weeks. I would just be making sure that I was protected and going after other targets. It just seems to me, and maybe it's editing, it seems to me that people try to figure out who the traitor is way too early. They end up sending people home who maybe aren't best for their game to be sending home. You can't tell. It would be a boring game if you could tell in week one who the traitors were and who weren't. So don't even try. Work on building up your relationships, whether it's with a traitor or a faithful, and then deal with that a little bit later. So that's some of my strategy I think I would be doing in that game. All right. Colleen is saying, love your background. Great looking turkeys 101. How pretty good looking turkeys, aren't they? We worked up at, lived up in Oklahoma City for just a little while. Right after we moved up there, I think we moved up there in June or so. Our first Thanksgiving, we go to the local hardware store. We're looking for Christmas stuff. And we walk in, and in the middle of the hardware store, it's like Ace Hardware, Sears Hardware, something like that. In the middle of the store is a huge turkey in a pen. And my son was a baby at the time, so he was too little to know. But my daughter, she'd never seen a turkey before. This thing was twice as big as she was. She was probably 2 or something at the time, 2 or 3. She walks in, sees this turkey. This turkey gobbling along, and very impressive. I've seen some turkeys in the wild, but I hadn't seen one quite like this one. So yeah, I will say I always eat turkey on Thanksgiving. I'm a little bit more of a ham man when it comes right down to it. But turkey, do you know Ben Franklin wanted turkey, not the eagle? He wanted the turkeys to be our national mascot of the United States and all that. Turkeys, I've heard, are pretty smart. No, not too smart. A lot of them end up on our dinner tables, but hey, at least they live a year or so, right? Yeah, be thankful for the time you got, I suppose. All right. Michelle Mills is saying, you are the bright side of my day recovering from femur surgery. God, you know, I'm sorry to hear that, but I'm glad that we get to share a little time together. Thank you. I hope you're feeling better. That does not sound fun. Man, I've been pretty lucky. Not had a lot of issues, bones and all of that. But I hope you're feeling better. At least you got the long holiday weekend for a little bit of recovery time. And I guess people are just going to have to bring you turkey in bed and take full advantage of your recovery time while you can. But hey, anything I can do to make the day go a little better. Any of y'all, any big brother question, anything, shoot me DMs. I'm going to be reading my DMs all week long. So shoot me some questions. I'll answer them. Karen Loveland saying, oh, perfect. How do we message you privately? Karen, the easiest way, I don't ever know how this works on YouTube. I try to read comments after the shows, but sometimes it's hard sometimes. But find me on Twitter, find me on Instagram. It's cliff.hog on Instagram, cliff_hog, I think, on Twitter. You can find me. I'm not that hard. Find me, just send me a DM, and I try to keep up with those. And every once in a while I get a little lax when work's getting in the way and things like that. But for the most part, I pay attention to those. God, I get so much spam stuff, especially on, well, both Instagram and Twitter. Most of it just goes off into the debris album to begin with. But there sure are a whole lot of people who are very interested in me for very interesting reasons. Yeah, I lost it. But yeah, send me a DM. Any messages or anything. I love interacting with folks, whether it's here on Monday nights or just the rest of the week. So yeah, that's how you can get a hold of me. And I promise you, I'll respond and we'll get you some. We'll talk about whatever you're in the mood for within reason. All right. Paul Long is saying, Ma is in New York City with her marching band checking out Broadway shows. All right. I didn't want to ask because I know everyone's schedule's in such flux, but I'm glad to hear that. I got to go to New York City for the first time in March when we went up there for Nicole's wedding. Had so much fun in New York City. A cool place. I just go back and visit a little bit more. So yeah, well, that's kind of cool. So she's going to be in the parade. I'll have to be watching her for that. I thought she was going to be in Philadelphia or somewhere, but no, New York City. I'll be watching for her in that, and that's cool. I am sure they're getting to see all the sites, Broadway shows. When we went up there, we saw Harry Potter and the Cursed Child was the Broadway show that Sharon and I checked out. It's great. I love it. We had when our kids were younger, we used to go to the Broadway shows. They called them Theater Under the Stars. We'd go to a lot of the musicals and stuff that were here in Houston. I love the musicals. All of them. I just have a blast watching those kind of things and all that. So, yeah, if I ever went back to New York City, we would just spend a week doing nothing but hitting as many shows as possible. Go check out Tommy Bracco and his. I hated that I missed Tommy and his show, but the Huey Lewis one hadn't started quite yet, and so yeah, timing just wasn't right for it. Of course, good thing it meant we got to hang around together. Otherwise, he would have been doing the show. But yeah, I hope Ma's having a blast. I am sure that she is, especially with all her compatriots up there as well. Okay, so the Philadelphia parade. Okay, all right, that's what I thought. I thought I remember that. I'll watch them all. Right, we'll be watching a lot of that. All right, let's see. What else do I have out here? Tim Cox. Tim, thank you, sir, for the support. Absolutely appreciate it. Happy Thanksgiving to you and yours. Enjoy. Well, Tim, right back at you, my friend. I hope you have a fantastic Thanksgiving. Different people celebrate different ways, but I hope your celebration involves lots of friends, family, people that are important to you. Hopefully a little food thrown in there as well, and a whole lot of relaxation. This holiday season, you start. We never even had Halloween. It just seems like people went straight, and that seems like people are already doing Christmas. People are in such a hurry to move on to the next holiday before we even get to this one. Just enjoy your Thanksgiving. We'll put up the tree and stuff a little bit later. But no, Tim, thank you so much for the support. I hope you have a blast on your Thanksgiving day as well. Yeah, I remember as a little kid, the height of our Thanksgiving, because I had a brother who was a year and a half younger than me. The height of our Thanksgiving was pulling that old freaking wishbone. And they used to say that the short one would be the first one to get married. The long one, whoever had the longest side of the wishbone would get a long life and a wealthy life or something. Well, 7 and 8 year old boys getting married first had zero attraction to us. It was all about getting that money. So yeah, we would try to do everything possible, make sure we had the long side of the wishbone. I don't know if they do that anymore. I don't see people pulling wishbones the way they used to when we were younger. Y'all let me know. For those of you who are over a certain age, those of you who are under a certain age, you still pull a wishbone in two and talk about wishes and stuff as a result of it. Be kind of curious to hear about that. All right, what else? Oh, God, I can't believe it's 8 o'clock. All right. We will go ahead and shut it down because I know this week you got all kinds of places to go and people to see. Guys, have a fantastic Thanksgiving. And again, we've all got something to be grateful for, to be appreciative for, to be thankful for. So take the time to reflect on that. Make sure you find your family, friends, again, the people who are important to you, whoever that may be. just give them a little extra hug and let them know that they're appreciated in this world, and they mean something to you. I think it's important that we tell people that. So have a fantastic Thanksgiving. I'd say don't eat too much, but yeah, go for it. Have a blast. Those of you who are recovering from the surgeries and all that, I'd be thinking about y'all, and I'm glad y'all are recovering and feeling better. All right, so with that, we'll say big old SKD 143. Love my wife, love my kids, love my reality TV, love turkeys, especially when they're sitting on my dinner plate. Love all you guys out here as well. If you haven't already done so, please consider subscribing to my channel, turning on the notifications, hitting the old thumbs up, and we'll figure out what we're going to do for Cliff Notes as we get into the new year. All right, guys, have a great Thanksgiving. Cheers, my friend. I will see y'all next Monday. Giga Maggies. I'll either have a huge smile on my face or I'll have a okay smile on my face. It's all optimistic. It's all positive. Guys, have a great Thanksgiving. I will talk to y'all next Monday. Until then, cheers, my friends. Bye.